I'm Bluemoon, and welcome to the first episode of Draw That Bluemoon. In this episode, I'll be drawing whatever I want and talking about whatever I want. Maybe in future episodes you guys can suggest things, but for now, it's all about me. In this episode, I'll be talking about my childhood / early to mid to late 2000s trends, and drawing this picture of two of my old characters. I've had this story for years and years, honestly for as long as I can remember, and only the past 2 years have I actually drawn them, so I've been kind of slow at trying to figure out what they look like in the background of their world, so that's kind of what I'm developing right now. And I have been drawing this for the last 2 months and I just haven't finished it yet, so I'm gonna finish it on camera with you guys. But you might be wondering, what is this story about and who are these characters? Well, I'll read you the little summary before we get started. Two supernatural families move out of their hometowns upon being discovered as otherworldly creatures by their old neighbors. Little do they know, their money-hungry landlord rented the property to both of them. Now being forced to live together, the families try to keep up their act of normalcy while also living side by side with one another. Will they be discovered? What other secrets do they have? And who will come back to haunt them? That sounds pretty sick, right? I've been working on this with Red Moon, and speaking of Red Moon, she has her own series called Draw That Red Moon, and her episode is actually up now if you want to go watch that after mine. Don't skip mine. No, go watch mine. No. Go watch mine. She'll be talking in the background as I'm talking. But these two characters that I'm drawing, here they are. They're two neighbors of each other. You can guess if they're supernaturals or not, I'm not telling you. But let's get into the actual video. And the first thing I'm going to start with is the topic of being an annoying little kid and annoying your next door neighbors like this girl in the black hair does to the blonde haired girl all the time. Okay, so me and Red Moon, we were born in 2001. So that means we grew up in the 2010s, 2011s era, but this story takes place when we were about 8 or 9. We'd go over to our dad's house for the weekend. I'm coloring on the wrong layer! Damn!
I hate when that happens to me.
Okay, now we're on the right layer.
I love when it happens to other people.
Okay, continuing on the story, maybe I'll omit you from the story. So, just me would go over to my dad's house on the weekends, and we were really bored because he didn't really entertain us, and we had a friend that lived right down the block. Her name was M, I'll say for the story, and instead of just walking down to her house, we'd take the only mode of transportation that was available to us in the early 2000s, and that was the thing solely responsible for bruised and broken ankles in the 2000s. Razor scooters. So we'd take our razor scooters down the block, and we lived in a townhouse area, so just imagine the bumpiest roads you could ever imagine. So we'd be riding our razor scooters down to her house and then we went up to M's door like this. Is M home? And her parents opened, her mom. No. And we'd be like, okay. Down the block. And we'd wait, just bored out of our minds, and we'd just be waiting around all day and decide, maybe it's been a few hours, let's go ask again. So we'd ride down the block on our razor scooters, we'd knock on the door again, slightly more scared because her mom was a little mean. Is M home? Yes. Can she hang out? No. Okay. And we'd ride down the block. Although, at the end of the day, we would usually be defeated, we'd still try it every single weekend. We went down to our dad's house. But we had another friend that lived on the block, on the opposite end of the block actually, and her name was Kay, I'll say for the story. She would actually come and invite us over. I remember the one time we were walking outside of our house, and she came and was like, hey, do you want to come over my house? And we were like, yeah, of course. And we walked down to her house. This is so bad. I was not paying attention. I was too busy going, and now this is all fucked up? Okay. So we'd be like, yeah, of course, and we'd go down to her house, and her door would just be wide open, and we walked in, she had I don't even know how many siblings, I didn't know her like that, but she had 8+ siblings running around. They were all under the age of 5, and her parents were nowhere to be seen in the house, but honestly it was kind of fun. It was a kid's palace or something, only kids lived in the house, I was convinced. And we just play random games in her house, we played on the Wii in her downstairs living room, and we jumped off her bunk bed a few times, off the very top, and made the loudest boom sound you could ever imagine. No parent came running up to see if we were okay, because I don't even know if there was one there. That's how we discovered Moshi Monsters was actually in her house, because her older sibling was playing on the computer, and we ran over and annoyed her, and she let us on, and she showed us how to play, I think, or we already knew about it at the time. I really forget, but I remember that being a core memory of looking at Moshi Monsters on that random girl's computer screen, taking it all in. And Moshi Monsters had a grip on us for 2+ years after that.
Hearing you tell
what do you have to say about me?
Hearing you tell these stories just like reminds me of how annoying I was.
Yes, like that's what I was saying. Like I'm so annoying, and I feel like this is where this character comes from, the girl with the black hair, because she's in the story is canonically really annoying and comes over to the main character's houses constantly. And I think this is inspired off of my childhood.
People who say they don't have self-insert characters are lying because every character you make is a self-insert.
Yes, because it's only based on things you've experienced in your real life or have looked up yourself or know that's within your own knowledge. So every character is a self-insert character. At least one aspect of the character is. Hot take there, but...
Sorry, I got you off topic.
Yeah. So Motion Monsters is a good segue into talking about 2000's trends. Now, I don't know if you remember a little thing called SillyBandz? Yeah, maybe it's been a long time since you heard that name, but they were really popular in the 2000s. Every kid wanted them, and if you don't know what they are, they're basically little rubber bands that were shaped like animals and things and people. It gets kind of crazy after a while that you can put on your wrist, and kids would come to school with like so many up their arms, like circulation would be cutting off.
Hands bright red.
Hands bright red.
Like they
couldn't move
them
them
or something.
Yes, but it was drippy at the time. Like it was the thing to do. Like you were cool if you had armfuls of SillyBandz. And not gonna lie, we kind of grew up with not that much money, so our mom didn't get them right away because she's like, what's the point of them? They're really stupid, like SillyBandz. Like I'm not spending money on them. But eventually, after she saw how big of a trend it was, and honestly, after our older siblings who are millennials, I don't know how far apart in age we are, but they classify as millennials. But as soon as our older siblings said they wanted SillyBandz, guess what we got? SillyBandz. I remember coming home from school late at night one day, and they were just all sprawled across the table. Like she unpackaged them and just threw them on the table, and I was like, oh my god, this is the best day of my life. Because at that point at school, SillyBandz were being traded like it was cocaine or drugs or something. Like it was the hot thing to trade on the playground.
On the black market.
Yeah, the black market playground trade.
If you haven't heard of it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're out of the loop there. But I remember just watching that, like people trade their SillyBandz, and I didn't have any. I remember the one time I went up to this girl who was trading SillyBandz with someone else and was like, I don't have any SillyBandz. Can I have one? Just one SillyBandz, please. And she actually gave me one, which I was so thankful for. And it was a little seal, and I cherished it for months. What felt like months, I don't know how long it was, until I actually got SillyBandz. But by the time I did, the trend was over. But I still carried them around because, you know, some kids still valued their SillyBandz after the trend was gone. But this isn't really what the story is about. I just wanted to set the scene. So this takes place in elementary school, and for a few months now, this kid, who I forget his name actually, I'll just call him like Kid. This kid named Kid would always follow me after class dismissed, after school was done for the day, down to my mom's car. And the way I took down to my mom's car was down this huge hill that was like right next to a building. So here's the hill, and like here's the building, and we'd be like walking down the hill, and he just grabbed the back of my book bag for some reason and slammed me against like the wall of the building repeatedly. And I had no backbone, so I just let it happen, and we were like friends. So he just thought it was okay, and I didn't tell him it wasn't. So like that's kind of on me, but also like, well, why is he doing that? A little weird. And I was tired of being abused. So one day when class was let out, I went over to my other acquaintance that I knew, I'll call him T, and I made a deal with the devil, okay? I wrote a little note.
This is one of those black market
trades. Yeah. I made a deal. So I wrote a note on a little slip of paper I ripped out of my notebook. Like I was literally just standing in line waiting to leave for the day, and I was like, no, I gotta do this. I took out my book bag, like ripped out my notebook, and like ripped out a piece of paper and wrote on it, and I went up to T, my friend. I was like, you gotta give this to Kid, okay? You gotta give it to him. And he was like, okay, but what's in it for me? And I said, this very special, rare dragon SillyBandz. If you do this, no, this is yours. And I didn't really want to give it away because I actually like that SillyBandz a lot, but I was like, no, if this is what it costs, whatever, you know, I'll do it. And he took the SillyBandz and took my note, and he went up to the kid and handed it to him, and the bell rang, and I walked down to my car, hearing Kid cry all the way down. Because you know what I wrote in that note? I said, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, and I don't want to walk down the hill with you anymore. And that was the end of that. It made my entire day, because I think it was like one of the last days of school, and I was just remember hearing him cry in the background, like feeling like so successful, like, yeah, I fucking did that. I showed him, and I couldn't even tell myself, you know, like, kind of bullshit.
You were walking, pretend you're walking, right?
Yeah.
Him in the background.
And I was like on cloud 9 hearing that. I was like, yeah, I don't have to be tortured anymore, when I just needed to grow a backbone, and I couldn't even grow one to like tell him that.
And you still don't have one.
No, I still don't. I probably would have done the same thing, to be honest.
Like right now?
Yeah. But
hey,
a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do.
Yeah.
I can't get my hands dirty here.
So if you guys didn't know, the cost of freedom is one dragon suit.
Yes. Okay, but speaking of razor scooters, we mentioned it in the earlier story, but razor scooters were honestly a big part of my childhood. Every time I'd go over to my dad's house, I'd ride my razor scooter around the bumpy ass roads. But I remember riding around on my razor scooter alone. Redmond wasn't with me, she was inside, I think, and I fell off my razor scooter because I hit a bump and my knees were bleeding.
The bumpy roads.
Yeah, the bumpy roads. I was like, and tipped over and I scraped my knees. I think it was like pretty light bleeding, but I remember just like feeling a little, what's it called? Desperate for attention that day. So I sat on the curb, like right where I fell, just like sitting there. I think I cried like a little bit, I don't remember. But I was just sitting there waiting for Redmoon to come out and find me because I was surprised she just didn't follow me out there in the first place. But I was sitting there for such a long time and Redmoon came out like 30 plus minutes later and was like, oh my god, what are you doing? Like, you're ridiculous. And I didn't get the attention I wanted.
You just sat there with bloody knees
for nothing. I was an annoying little kid.
All you need to do was
wanting attention, wanting friends, like how annoying of me.
All you needed to do was give me one dragon SillyBandz and I would come out and give you attention.
But that's the thing, I didn't want to get up and tell you, I didn't want to get up and go in the house and be like, my knees are bloody. I wanted you to discover me at the scene, the exact scene.
the dramatics.
I wanted you to see the carnage laughing.
So I
wanted you to feel bad for me.
When you say you're in pain, it's like it just feels more real. Like,
yeah.
You want me to feel so bad for you?
Like, I wanted you to stumble upon me the minute I got into the accident, but since you didn't, I just sat there for like 20 minutes.
And then, if I came out, were you gonna pretend that like you had just fallen down or something?
I don't know what my plan was. Okay, so I was really distracted telling a story, so I'm gonna do a little time lapse of me drawing, so this can actually look good.
I realized when we were making these videos, even when I was making mine, I can't draw and talk at the same time.
No, it's more like I'm gonna vent to you and you're gonna listen, and you may have a pretty picture to look at once in a while. Okay, before I start telling my next story, which I thought of and Redmoon does not know what I'm gonna say, I just wanted to mention, if you think I drew these stairs, I did not. I used a reference from The Sims.
Most artists in the industry use images for their backgrounds.
A lot of them do. Don't let other people tell you differently. A lot of artists do. Doesn't mean they copy people's works or trace everything, but they're on a time crunch, so obviously they'd have to use references or trace backgrounds they probably make or they take pictures of or they use from free picture websites occasionally. Anyways, the next story I'm gonna tell is in line with me wanting attention as a kid. Now, I don't know if some of you remember, Wendy's used to give out CDs with their kids meals. It wasn't Kids Bop versions, there was like actual music from like popular pop songs in that era. In the 2000s. I got one of those CDs and we had a little collection of them because we'd go to Wendy's a lot. But one day I came home and I was upset about something. I don't particularly know what. And Redmoon was like not having it. She was like, oh my god, you're so dramatic. And I was still upset, rightfully so. I don't know what I was upset about, but I'm allowed to be upset. And I went to our room because we shared a room. I closed the door. I had a little radio we played the CDs in from Wendy's, and I grabbed one of the CDs, I slammed it in the radio, and for attention, I turned the radio on really loud and sat in my room and played that one Coldplay song. Is it Coldplay? I think it is.
Yes.
Yes, I played that one Coldplay song where it goes, when you try your best but you don't succeed. When you get what you want but not what you need.
And I was outside the door, just not having it. I whipped open the door, and I was like, oh my god.
She was so mad at me. And
I started yelling.
I get it now.
I was like, now you're trying to make me feel bad for you.
I was literally guilt tripping you.
The song is called Fix You.
Oh, Fix You by Coldplay, yes.
And if you haven't heard, BTS did a cover of the song.
Yes.
So check it out.
And when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, it's literally coming full circle. Life's crazy. The last 2000s trend I wanted to talk about is the Wii. It was the most popular thing to have. 2008 recession was when the Wii was like at its peak popularity, and I thought we weren't gonna get one. But when I came home from school the one day, I saw our mom surprised us and our older siblings with a Wii, and we were totally stoked. I remember like spending all night making my little me character and like trying to figure it out as like a 9-year-old.
I still don't know.
A 7-year-old, because it was 2008.
I still don't know how she got it. We have 4 other older siblings.
Yes.
And we are a family of 6. And
Yeah.
like,
How? And she's a single mom at the time.
she was a single mom. I don't know how she saved for it, and I recently asked her, and she said, I don't know. Like, what do you mean you don't know? I feel like she might have stolen it. I don't know.
Like, maybe credit card? I don't know. But that's besides the point. Probably a year or two after we got the Wii, me and Redmond became obsessed with Mario Kart and would get up bright and early in the morning like this. And we'd wake up at 6 a.m. and play Mario Kart, like, first thing in the morning. Like, imagine doing that now.
Like, that was the first sound I wanted to hear in the morning was this.
The opening screen.
And I'm really good at Mario Kart
Yes,
now,
I get first place every time. If you're watching me draw, I'm sorry. I just drew like 3 lines on the paper and like undid them. I'm really not drawing well. I'm talking at all. I guess the last thing I'll talk about, I know I said the Wii was the last thing I'll talk about, but the last thing I'll talk about is pillow pets. Pillow pets were
It's
another...
a pillow!
It's a pet! It's a pillow pet! I had a big monkey pillow pet, and Red Moon had a big sheep pillow pet, and I loved them dearly, but...
And wait. It sounds like we've had every single toy from every trend when we were little. We grew up very poor.
Yes.
So like pillow pets were bought by our rich cousins. SillyBandz, they were like a few cents, and my mom like snapped and she like saved money and got a bunch of them for like they were actually, oh my god, I just remembered, they were off-brand SillyBandz. They weren't even like actual SillyBandz. She got them from like, I don't even know, at least some of them were. Anyway, just wanted to clarify that I did not just get everything that I asked for as a kid.
No. Our mom would also do routine throwing out all your toys for no reason without asking us.
We used to collect like 3rd gen My Little Ponies.
Yes.
Or
second gen, or first.
Actually,
I think
not
second.
first. I don't remember what gen it is.
We used to collect them, and the one day I went to open my little dresser drawer to play with them, and they were all gone. Like, the drawer was empty, and I was like, Mom, where'd they go? She's like, I threw them away because you didn't play with them. I'm like, I played with them a week ago. Did anyone else's mom do that? Because our mom did that a lot. Like, we had live dolls, and the one day I went to play with one of the sets we had, and it was nowhere to be found.
Disappeared.
Nowhere to be found.
And she was like, I didn't throw it out. And like, where else would it have gone? It didn't grow legs and walk out of the house.
No, like, I know you threw it out.
Anyways, I'm sorry, I distracted you.
No, and then the other thing was Zuzu pets.
Yes.
Zuzu pets. We had Zuzu pets
really late to the trend.
Yeah, we were really late to the trend too, which is fine. And we loved them for a few months, honestly. We got over it really fast. And I remember, like, our mom was talking about, I'm gonna throw them away because you never play with them, which is true, but I didn't want them to be thrown away because I was like, you're not throwing any of my toys away ever again. And me and Red Moon took all of our Zuzu pets out of our closet. Like, we dug them out. They were, like, really deep back in our closet. We brought them out into the middle of the hallway, like, sat down and started playing with them just to show, like, look, we're playing with them. And it was, like, 20 minutes after she said, I'm gonna throw them away. We're like, no, we're playing with them. Like, we totally love them. We love
Master
them.
manipulation.
This is the time we usually play with them. Like, you don't know that? Like, we always play with them. Like,
we always play with them out in the hall.
Yeah,
like,
right in front of you, yeah.
In the cramped hallway.
yes. Yes. Needless to say, eventually we're like, yeah, we kind of don't use them, so you can donate them or something.
What you can learn from this video is we're annoying and manipulative.
We're Scorpios, what can I say? But anyways, I was talking about pillow pets and I totally got sidetracked and went on a whole rant about my mom. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this. But pillow pets were the shit, and we had to leave them at our dad's house. I don't know why, but he liked them, so he's like, you're leaving them here? And the one day I came over his house, and I guess I left the pillow pet on the radiator the last time I was at his house, and the whole side of my brown monkey pillow pet was like burnt to a crisp. And I was like, no, he has burn marks now. I feel so bad.
You made him a burn victim.
I know. Me and Redmond also used to play like classroom with all of our like Webkinz.
Oh my god, I was the meanest teacher. I would like, okay,
controlling.
So we had this basement in one of our houses.
Uh-huh.
We moved a lot, but in like one of them we had this like cool basement with like a little bar set up that was like abandoned, but we'd take our Webkinz down there and like not turn on like any of the lights and line them up as if they're like sitting in a classroom. And then we would just like give out homework sheets, which were just like white pieces of paper,
yeah.
and then like start yelling at them as if they did something wrong, even though they're just sitting there, inanimate objects.
I think my life was so out of control and out of my control. I need to be in control of something, and that was it. Those poor stuffed animals. I was
all out on the Webkinz. I don't know. I would like start throwing stuff at them, or
yeah.
like just be like, "Oh my god, you got that question wrong.
You fucked up, you dumb bitch."
And then, like,
without the curse word.
And then from above the basement, I'm gonna be walking out upstairs just hearing like loud thumping and like.
And I think the one time she was like, oh my god, this is so cute. And she came in our room and took a picture, but like little did she know we were abusing the bind culture.
Look, here's the picture on screen.
Okay, so that's about all I'm gonna show you for time-lapse, because I realized I don't want to show you me meticulously going through all these little, like, I don't know what to call them, like when you do paint bucket, there's like a white line between like the line art and the color. I don't want to show you that because that's really boring, so I'm gonna do that off camera when I'm done with the video, but I'll show you the finished product here. I love how it turned out. I have trust in the process, I have trust in myself, I love it. What I have right here in front of me right now is nice. I like what I ended up doing with the background. I was struggling for a hot minute, like, oh, I don't know what to do with the colors. And I just added little dots. You can probably tell during the screen recording, I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I'm glad I'm finally done with this picture because this story, I didn't tell you the title of it, but it's called It's Supernatural, and it's a passion project of mine and Redmoon's. We've been working on it since we were like 10 years old, to be honest. Like, we've talked about these characters for years and years, and we never actually drew them until the last 2 years because we were afraid we'd mess them up. But now we're starting to do that, and honestly it's been a fun process, but it's also tedious because I'm like, oh, I don't want to fuck this up, I gotta make everything perfect, when you don't need to. Exactly. Like, we don't need to do that. But you're not watching this for any of that. I love how my drawing turned out. If you want to see more of me or Redmoon, we have 2 TikToks. You can come here now.
Thanks.
We have 2 TikToks, an Instagram, a Redbubble, a Depop, and a Fiverr where we can draw you cute animals or cryptids. So please feel free to check any of those out if you want to support us. But other than that, see you in our next video, and just remember to dream is to expand your imagination and create your own reality. Anything's possible and things don't have to make sense. See you in our next video.